Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Team Race Podcast. If you're listening to this, that means you have found the Team Race website. So congratulations, you found a lot of cool shit. We're going to talk about a lot of shit. We're going to discuss a lot of shit. There's going to be some good shit. So, with that being said, let's all thank Mr. Noah Blockowitz for creating the lovely website and giving us all to have something to talk shit about. So, thank you, Noah. The Team Race podcast will consist of yours truly, Mr. Chris the Speed Kopetsky. And Noah will be joining me in the upcoming podcast. We got to make sure that this thing works. That's why this is the test podcast. So I guess we'll see what happens. So without further ado, we are going to just dive right in and talk about some stuff that's going to go on this year. So this year, one of the big changes is we're going to have 4 tracks. So 4 tracks. However, the Triple Crown still applies. Now, the Triple Crown races are going to be the usual races, starting out at the Robb Ranch, the Anaheim 1 of the team series. And it's going to be at the beginning of May. It's coming up real quick. When this comes out, you guys, it should be coming out within a few weeks of that. So, I'm making this and you guys have no idea that we got it going. So that makes my heart happy. Anyway, Robb Ranch race. It's going to be rough. It's always rough. A lot of rocks. And really the only track that we have that has hills too. So it doesn't really matter when you come into this. It's going to be rough. It's going to be hard. Luckily, it's not hot. We tried to get that done earlier in the year. So yeah, we got that going on. Second Triple Crown race, Sunol. It's going to be a fast track. It's always fast. There's going to be some new sections in it this year. Talking with Chuck, I think that we're going to add a couple of new sections into it, really. Going to put the ATV or Supercross track in it, and even a whole new section, which Callie and Chuck mapped out the other day, adds a couple, I think it's 6 minutes altogether. So gonna add a little bit more length to the lap times. I checked yesterday and I believe we've been running about 8 laps for our 4-hour race times. And I believe that's probably going to be cut down to 6 or 7-ish, depending on where you start at. So a little bit shorter race, but obviously that's the one track that we get the most laps in during the series. So going to be a little bit different, going to be a little bit longer, and going to have a little bit more jumps to it. So there's going to be that to navigate as well. After Sunol, which is, I believe, it's 2 weeks after the Robb Ranch, so it's kind of a quick turnaround. We have a pretty big gap, almost a 2-month gap, I believe, into the final Triple Crown race, which is going to be the Backwoods race. This is going to be by far the tightest race of the year. We run 3 laps there at the Blockowitz Backwoods. And there's a joker lane and trees. I believe the only track that we have that will have any sort of trees, honestly, but it's got plenty of them. So within the first 3 rounds, we get a whole kind of different racing style, which will be a little bit, be the same as we have been doing. So anyway, there is going to be a 4th race added this year. However, the Triple Crown races will still stay the same, meaning you win Robb Ranch, Sunol, and the Backwoods, you can win a Triple Crown. Initially, I thought the Triple Crown was going to be one of the hardest things to get. Obviously, I was wrong. Kelly won it the first year. I was kind of shocked that he won it the first year. Didn't think anybody would win it the first year. And then literally year 2, 2 guys won it. So Chuck and Derek won it. And yeah, I was really not thinking anybody would win it for a first couple of years. But boy, was I wrong. So there is going to be 4 races. There is going to be a trophy if you can win 4 races. However, I don't know what that is yet. So if you have suggestions, feel free to let me know. Put it in the team race chat. Let's do that. Put your ideas in the team race chat. See if we can get something going there. Um, anyway, fourth race of the series is going to be Potter, so out at BJ's, and as we've all been there, it's going to be an open track, going to be a little bit wider. Um, it does have some rocks to it, a little bit of elevation change, and really, it's going to be fast. That's for sure. It'll be interesting to see if we add anything to it or how BJ wants to run it. If he's going to run it backwards from the Potter race, the PNCC race, or if he's going to keep it the same or just totally revamp the track. I really don't know yet. Obviously, I haven't talked to him because he doesn't even know this podcast exists yet. So suck on that, you Kawasaki prick. Oh, no, I still like you. But anyway, it's going to be a long course too. I think Rob's is the longest, and Sonol's going to be pushing it too for the longest course. I'm not exactly sure. We should put that in the stats. See which one's the longest one. I'm not sure. No, I'll mark that down. We might have to put in how long the courses are. That might have to be on the Lit Pro times. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We got time. Well, not really. Anyway, so jumping straight into it, the race format, how this all works for all the new guys and for anybody that's still listening. Qualifying is going to be held on Saturday. Qualifying times are going to be based off of the Lit Pro, which we do have 2 of those. And if we absolutely need to, we can run a GoPro to just get times off of it as well. But it has to be a GoPro 5 or newer. So Sean, Noah, I believe that's it that I know of, unless somebody else has a GoPro. But either way, that'll give us the most accurate qualifying times for the races. Now, the new addition this year is going to be Noah's handy dandy little team builder tool, which started this entire process of this amazing website. We had Noah started this team building tool way back when we were headed to Upton, and we literally, Noah spent the entire time basically up there and back, and he didn't finish his steak fucking nachos, that little prick. I'm pretty sure he had like 2 payday bars or whatever the hell he eats. It's probably one of those Reese's things that's fast, doesn't eat shit bars. But anyway, this team builder tool is gonna mix some things up way more than what we had it doing before. So the team builder tool is going to get the closest calculated times between all teams. So you could have, in theory, 2 A guys and a C guy. You could have 3 B riders. You could have 2 C guys and an A guy, 2 C guys and a B guy. It could really mix things up A, B, C wise. So it's not going to be like we used to have where you had 3 riders, one was an A, one was a B, one was a C. And we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second on how that plays into qualifying and things like that. But it's really going to mix teams up, and you won't have consistent teams. I know last year especially we had one of the greatest rivalries known to man between Noah and Callie, and it kind of sucked because they both knew they were going to be on the same team. They kind of fall into about the same category every time, and they weren't going to get mixed up much. So I think this tool is going to allow for a lot more mixing of teams and different placements, and even different placements than we've seen so far, rather than, first 3 are running against each other, second 3 are running against each other, and the third 3 are running against each other. So it'll be a lot different teams, I believe this comes up with. Just testing it myself, I haven't had any teams that have come up with the same thing. All of the teams that I've checked with our stats sheet has been different. So it's definitely going to mix it up, which I think it'll be good. That being said, the way we're going to have to do qualifying this year, you will qualify the course you will race. So if you are going to be an A rider, you will qualify the A course and all of the A lines. If you are a B rider, you will qualify the B course and all of the B lines. If you're Chuck, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. Anyway, you have to do the exact course that you're going to be racing on race day. And that'll give us the most accurate times and placements for teams. So whatever you feel comfortable with racing is what you should qualify as. Cool. Um, Next up, following qualifying, is the night race. And the night race is also getting a little bit of a revamp. There is still going to be an A class. The A class will run backwards from the original course and will include all of the A lines, with the addition of the newest vice president of the night race. We talked the other day, and we want to make the night race hard. It is meant to be hard, or keep the hard shit hard. So I'm all for having to get off of your bike and have to push it over things. I know that's going to make some people angry, but keep the hard shit hard. So there's that. Now, the B class. The B class is a little bit different. They are going to run more than likely the course forwards, and obstacles will be discussed with the B group. So if there's some things like tires, I think that was one of them at the Sonoma race last year. They wanted to skip. So as long as everybody's agreeing upon what the course is, then by all means, that's the race that you can race. Everybody just has to know what they're doing beforehand. So the newest race is going to be the C class. Now, the C class is going to be for anybody that hasn't raced the night race yet and really just wants to kind of get a feel for what the night race is. So the C course is going to be a little bit different. It's really just designed to bring people into night racing. It'll be discussed between everybody what they think they can do, what they want to try to do, what they feel comfortable doing, and what they don't feel comfortable doing. It's going to be really just kind of a little course for people to get their feet wet into the night race races, I guess is what I should say. Now, with there being this many classes, there is a way to be regressed to a lower class. So A riders, if you wanted to become a B rider, you would have to take a year off or have a medical necessity, just like in AMA rules, that would then bump you back down. You'll have to talk this over with the other A riders and make sure it's cool. And I'm assuming, honestly, if it's an A rider going to the B group, you're going to have to take it up with Callie because she's kind of the one that's running the B group right now. Now, that being said, the B group, if you wanted to regress to the C class, it is the same thing, year off or medical necessity. That you still discuss with the B riders and the C riders if they wanted to swap you back down. And then obviously the C riders is kind of the lowest, so they wouldn't regress. Now, the other hand, the progression that would go on is if you win your class, the next year you have to move up. Now, this is kind of weird. In the A class, if you win, you're just still in the A class. However, if you ran the A class, you have to continue to run the A class unless we deem otherwise. There's something I just thought of we might be able to discuss, but I'll talk with everybody on that. The B class, if you win the B class, you are then an A rider. However, last year's night race is kind of weird. Nobody truly finished an entire season. So with nobody finishing all 3 rounds, then technically that series, I'm going to say, doesn't necessarily count. So we're going to let all the B riders continue to be B riders this year. After this year, progression rules apply. So you win this year, you're going to the A class. Unless Callie decides she wants to put me in a headlock and sit on me. Then we'll talk about it. But if Noah wins, he's fucking going to the A class. He can suck it. Now, the C riders, same thing goes. If you win the C class, you're going to the B class next year. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The C class is designed, like I said, just to get people into it. So honestly, if you want to self-promote yourself from the C class to the B class next year, I'm cool with that too. I think that's a good idea. So, all right. Any questions? No, because I'm the only one here. So, have my beer. And we'll continue on. Now, the main meat of this podcast, the actual race day. When it comes to race day, we're going to try to start race day at 8 a.m. Every attempt will be made to start at 8 a.m. So the race is a 4-hour race, and it'll consist of however many teams. 3 teams of 3 is what we want to have. There's been talk we might be able to do 4 teams of 3. We can do 2 teams of 4. We can do 2 teams of 3. That's one thing I forgot to mention. Noah's new team builder tool also does different size teams because he's fucking badass. So I appreciate that motherfucker. Now, the 4-hour race is kind of a cool thing because you get 3-man teams, which does help, but you also have to think that you're running complete sprints every lap. Now, if you're somebody like Kelly, he'll sprint all 4 hours and never fade. If you're somebody like, well, me mainly, we start out hot, but we don't always end hot. So you need to do a little more cardio. And that's the other thing that's really going to come into play this year is, especially with the new team builder tool, is it's going to base off of your qualifying time. Now, your qualifying time, whether it's good or bad, you need to be able to hit it consistently. Now, consistency is going to pay off immensely this year. Just looking through the stats, one that really jumped out at me this year was I was looking at basically every race Noah has ever done, and he actually kicks ass except for 1 lap. And then that 1 lap fucks him every time. So if you can have solid, consistent laps all race long, you're going to give your team a lot better shot at winning it. So good luck with that. The last thing I want to talk about with that is wristbands too. You have to have a wristband to leave the starting area. You have to have a wristband when you come back to the starting area. And it has to be your same fucking wristband, you cheaters. As soon as I said that, I knew there was people that were going to try to cheat that shit. But when you have a wristband, it has to be your same one. If you have a mechanical issue, we ran into this the very first year we tried it. Noah's clutch went out. His lever did some weird stuff, and we had to ride out and get him. Anyway, it is your responsibility as a rider to get your team's attention. So a lot of times people are back, talking shit, having a good time. It is the rider's responsibility to get their teammates' attention. The next rider in line can ride to them, but they have to finish that lap with the wristband. Now, the rider that rides to the mechanical issue or whatever can finish that lap and hand off, or they can continue and do their lap. So say we had, BJ, Callie, and Noah, and say BJ has an issue and Callie runs out there. Callie can take the wristband, finish that lap, and she can either hand it to Noah or she can continue and do her lap. However, it has to be in that order. Which leads me to the next point. You have to run your order. So let's say it's that same exact scenario. BJ, Callie, Noah. If that's how you start and that's how you run, BJ starts first, Callie starts second, Noah starts third. You have to run that series the entire race. You do not get to mix it up and go BJ, Noah, Callie, or any other form of it. It has to be in that order every time. That's pretty much it on that. I think that's it. So, any questions, get a hold of me. I was looking, I was going to put the rule book up on the website too that nobody ever fucking reads. That's why I'm doing this podcast right now. But yeah, any questions, issues, bring it to me. Everybody thank Noah for this awesome website and shit talking that we can do now. I know this is going to keep Chuck busy on a Monday, so you're welcome, Chuck. And we didn't even name it chucksucks.com, so look at that. Yeah, we're looking out for you, buddy. Cool. Anyway, everybody have fun. It's going to be a good year, and I hope I win. So there we go. See you guys.